I'm Yael McShane Wulfhart. I'm the art wolf. Oh, welcome to my gallery. If you walk into any art fair or museum and start noticing, you will see that 80 to 90% of the artists represented are male in 2024. Hence our new show, The Female Gaze, representing 7 contemporary women artists in sculpture, painting, photography, and ceramics. We have Susanna Speirs, Lareina Holsopple, Dopez, Justina Blakeney, Lois, Osiris, Zuñiga, and Sofia Peters. So I'm going to take you through the show, and we even get to meet with a few of the artists today. Okay, we're gonna start over here with my artist, Susanna Speirs. Susanna is a professor at California State University, Long Beach for 25 years of the Metal Arts program. Pioneering woman in her field, running the foundry, forging metal, as you can imagine. This is all beautifully welded on the outside steel. And this is a copper vessel, started from a giant copper sheet that she hammered into this vessel form. A lot of her work is about the female form, representing the female body, and in here, the body in architecture. Come over here and see some more of her work. So she is an expert in bronze, copper, silver, kiln cast glass, and furnace cast glass. Over here we have, this is called yellow cluster, and this is actually kiln cast glass. This color comes from the inside. The pair, again, representative of the female form. And when she puts them together is this idea of community and of gathering. And wonderful thing about Susanna, she does every little piece of her structures, the hardware, she even hand polishes the screws. It's all incredibly considered. Over here we have cast bronze. These are cast from actual piece of slate. And then, of course, with the oil. Over here is my personal favorite. This is called French Vanilla. And again, it's kiln cast glass. The apple, the pear, and this is an example of what she calls kerf. Kerf is what's left after you make the cut. This is obviously cast from an actual branch, a wishbone shape, again referencing the female form and also the idea of choice. Here we have 2 more structures, erect, restoration. Again, these are copper vessels that sit inside the structure. And I want to show you, here's another one of her kiln cast pears, and with the tension that she has, just gives you that good feeling. Come on here and I'll show you her comfort series. So these are a mix. This one is actual glass, and I'll let you come close and I'll show you. Nobody's allowed to touch these except for me and her. So just so you can see how beautiful these individual sculptures are. The amount of hand polishing and the work that goes into them to make them look like these beautiful, shiny objects. This one is bronze. Here we have a double bronze, can barely lift it. And this one over here, she paired with this beautiful wood of Lebanon. This whole piece is called Release. Here we are showcasing Lareina Holsopple. She is an incredible oil painter working in Central California, and I think she's really able to capture that light of Central California in her oil paint. These are from her Crowd series, a great performance, celebration, the dancers. All of these have a beautiful way of having a timeless quality. You can't tell when, even what century they're in, and the faces have that, could be familiar to anybody, and you could insert yourself in these scenes of the crowd. And here we're debuting this beautiful work from Lareina, so you can see she does more. This is Nude and Recline. This has been a very popular piece in the gallery show. Here we have Dopez. We've known each other a long time. Dopez is an amazing street photographer and poetess. You'll notice a lot of these images, a lot of her images are taken in the streets of New York, undeniably. And she has a very special way of seeing light that we're very lucky she shares with us. So maybe we can start with these ones here.
Thank you. When thinking about this show, The Female Gaze, it had me look inward and look back and see how I have been capturing women, how I have seen women, and in their moments. And moving to New York, the reputation of a city that never sleeps, loud, traffic, etc. I find myself chasing light and finding that light highlighted these quiet moments among all of the chaos. And I think my brain kind of organizes it a little bit when I saw these, when we put these three together, it really satisfied me in that the stories that each one tells independently, but when we come together, the visual story, the graphic elements, and that a springboard to what happened before, after. And I've always been about words and pictures, and these pictures really lend themselves to more thought. What might look like a woman caught in the crosswalk. Me and my friend were just talking about this looming figure here, seeming to influence her mode. This pause, this could be past, it could be patriarchy waiting on her. But in this quiet moment, and I'm there, and the thing I really enjoy about street photography is I'm not setting any of these things up. I couldn't write these things, and it feels so magical to have caught a real slice, a real moment in a place that's constantly moving, and that's what I'm attracted to, and I think that's what these three say together. This one I call Blue. Mean Red, and I really love that this is a public street. She's taking in her reflection, but ultimately we don't see what she sees. It's actually obscured, and that, again, I can't write that, and her conversation with the elements on the street just gives me so much. And then finally, I call this White Wings. This is crazy because this is a black and white picture, but it's actually a color picture. And her stance, the repeating of the lines really satisfies me. But what is she looking out into? Reflection, past, future, we don't know. And that gives us the time to, fill in that blank.
So let's walk down to your showstopper piece, or one of them, which we literally named WTF, because as Diana said, she doesn't set up her photos. This is not staged. So when I saw this, I was just like, what the fuck? How do you do this? How do you get the light and then show it to us like that?
Right, I wish I could really tell you, and it is one, it is probably the number one question I've been asked about this is, how did I get this? How did I take this? And it's a reminder to me about the importance of playing, and that I just got my camera and I'm just on the street here experimenting, playing, and I caught this moment. I didn't even know it at first, but this is a real pause. And again, I'm not creating the light, rather capturing it. And upon many, many times of looking at this, learning and seeing, and just overjoyed at the magical moment that this is. Own light here, they're lit. I wouldn't even know how to do that. How to set separate lighting like that. They've got their own, each story framed on their own, and there's just so much here, but still very quiet. Loud with quiet is usually what I think about a moment like this. And it's that happenstance, that catching something like this, being there for that, is what keeps me out there, I feel very special that I caught something, we were working together. So I spent a lot of time with this one because it just gives so much. It gives so much.
So here we are with Osiris Zuñiga, multimedia artist. This is a new sculpture that's been getting a lot of attention in the gallery, and maybe you can share a little bit about your inspiration for it.
Yes, so initially I wanted to make a whimsical piece. That's how I went into it, and then I just started making, and then I wanted to also see where the concrete would take me and make something like a form that would just be like, wow, is that concrete? And this was the end result of just like in the making, in the process, it just became this thing pretty much, which is what I've been calling it. It's just thing.
That's what, it's not just untitled, it's untitled thing.
Thing, yeah.
It's wonderful. So this is concrete, steel, and glass,
Yes.
right? Beautiful.
Yes.
And then over here, well, let's talk about this one first.
Okay. Yeah.
She battle.
She battle. So there's a lot going on in there. There's a lot of chaos, and that's intentional. There's supposed to be a lot of chaos. There's a battle going on. There's a fight. There's, destruction. But I also wanted to make something pretty. I love pinks. They make me feel good. So I wanted to just, so that was also like another but make it pretty. Have
a girl battle. She battle.
Have it, be this messy scene, but a pretty messy scene.
Love it. And it just goes beautifully with, now this is ceramic, acrylic, funerary vase?
Yes, so that's how I started looking at this one and the other piece. The other ceramic piece were as more vessels to communicate with ancestors or the dead. So I felt like they kind of, they went well together too. They were speaking to each other. There's this battle, and then there's this vessel that comes of it or something. But to me, that's how I see it. It's this, through this, I'm going to communicate with some sort of ancestor, or I'm communicating with someone,
There's something coming out of there, that's for sure. Oh my gosh, so we have another vase over here. And this one has glass in it as well, right?
Yes.
Pieces?
Has glass and some eyelashes on it as well for the eyes. That also is another, it started becoming this vessel also where I felt like I was communicating with my ancestors. Granted, it came after an ayahuasca journey, but that's how it was wow, what is this, and it started coming alive to me. I started seeing eyes, this mouth, and so it's just okay, this is another communication device. And that's how these two they go together. I feel like they talk to each other, maybe they're each on a different realm or something.
Beautiful. And these two are favorites of many.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
The sculpture on the canvas is it's beautiful.
Thank you. I'm a big fan of that. I was trained as a sculptor. I consider myself an artist. I paint, I work with video, all sorts of things. But when I paint, I can't just do anything 2D. I have to add a, three-dimensional object of some sort to it. I'm never just satisfied with just having a painting. I always have to have something on it. Something. So I initially was okay, I put this copper that kind of resembled this heart, and it was just this black abyss. And I was all right, let me play with the acrylic. I love playing with the acrylic. I've been adding it to a bunch of forms, and I just, it just kind of went together and hugged it, and yeah, I love it too. It's also one of my favorite pieces. And that piece is just represents more chaos, and that's just more recent, just kind of, in the making, and I was just oh wow, okay. But yeah, represents some sort of chaos falling. And also I like it's in contrast, where this one's very neat and this one's not.
Yeah, there's scream coming from that one.
Yeah, which is great.
Okay, should we move into your other room here? This has been so exciting. I keep catching women standing right here, and I just say to them, I don't know if you came out of that or if you're going into it.
Good, that's great. That's a great, you know, when I like this, I like that it's like relative to our height. So it does feel like you just came out of it. And that's what it's supposed to be, like something just erupted out of here, something came out of here. We don't know what came out of here, but this is the shell of it. This is what remains of whatever came out.
This piece is called Ruptured.
Ruptured, yep.
And we have more concrete and steel works in here.
Yeah, so this is supposed to represent a Venus, actually, since they're always finding a different Venus somewhere. You know, this is, the joke I have is this is the Venus of K-Town, the Venus of 7th Street, that's where I live. Yeah, it represents a Venus, you know, that's typical Venus where, you know, you want to exaggerate certain, body parts. And yeah, it's just my representation of a Venus that would be found now.
Wow, and we just noticed the other day when you peek into the inside, there's like a little universe in there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, initially I wanted to like kind of like, what's that in there? Like when you kind of look into like a crystal or something, and there's like always like this, you know, I don't know, an element of surprise. Really. And
on the floor here we have steel rope sculptures.
This is this is rebirth, and this is supposed to be, you know, something that has been, for me, it's something that has been born again, something coming out, you know, and I say born again because it's not like starting from its like infancy and like that, but it's like starting from, you know, this wherever it's at, but it's not, you know, some sort of baby or something, you know, and it's being born again, and it's coming out with a vengeance. That's pretty much it.
Maybe it came out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's how I see, you know, when these two pieces are with Rupture, that's how I always look, you know, that's how it always looks to me, like they came out of it. And that's why, like, I've called these parasites, because it's as if, like, they are these parasites that came out of this thing, and they're now into the wild.
Here we are with Here we are with Lois Samuels.
Hello.
Wonderful ceramicist. And I always like to start with her fragmented beauties.
Yes.
I'll let you tell a little
So
about it.
fragmented beauties to me represents life. And if you come a bit closer, you'll see that there are all these small pieces, like bit by bit, piece by piece, I've put together and molded together to create each vessel. And that's so much about life, you know, like all these experiences make us, or they help shape us. And that's what fragmented beauty is about. A few pieces have these little dots on it, and they represent the victories. We need to celebrate, we need to pause and celebrate the little victories that we have in life. So you will see these little pieces on some of the vessels in the Fragmented Beauty collection.
So beautiful. I love that, how we build a life one, you know, little piece at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Come together and make an imperfect perfection.
Imperfect perfections. Fragmented beauties.
Just like us.
Just like us. Yeah.
And here we have our Sankofa.
Sankofa. I love the word Sankofa. You know how it comes out? It sounds beautiful.
Sounds really good when you say it.
Sankofa. So Sankofa is a word out of Ghana. I have this connection with Ghana. I've never been there, but I believe my forefathers are from there. And it means to go back and get it. I grew up in Jamaica, and I feel such a huge connection to this group of work, because I feel like I'm connecting to the past in this moment. And they used to make these amazing ceremonial vessels, and this is my rendition of them. And you have a special name for these?
I've been calling them contemporary artifact.
Yeah.
She's making these pieces today, but this is ancient history coming through her, so I think that's really special.
That's exactly what it feels like. And I love the earth. You know, I grew up on the farm. I always like the smell of dirt and just how magical it is. I mean, so much life comes from earth. You know, you just put a seed in it, all this magic just comes out of it. And so I'm at this place in life where it just feels so good to be a part of the whole creation and seeing how things transform with clay.
So
Dirt
beautiful.
is magic. Yeah.
Dirt is magic.
Yeah.
So these are also some photographs.
Yes. So I would say about 25 years ago, I did a body of work for about 3 years in Jamaica. I mean, that's my home. There's nowhere like Jamaica. There's just something about the rhythm and the vibration and the soil and the people and the music and the food. It's just so much that comes out of the island. So I did a body of work where I would go around the island photographing people with film. And I grew up in a farm area. So this area is called Top Hill. And that's where my mom came from. The earth is so rich and vibrant and fertile. And not too far from there, there's an aluminum space. So there's a lot of aluminum in the soil. But this image just gives such a beautiful story to me. It's all about the cycle of life. You know, it's like once a woman, twice a child. And this little girl in the background, she's representing the new leaders of tomorrow.
Oh.
And you know, it's just like this image. I was driving up to this road and I saw her name is Miss Rose. And I had to jump out of the car and I'm like, just don't move. This is amazing, this is amazing. And yeah, it just captures, I can smell the air when I see this image. Like Jamaica has a certain scent that's just so like deep and it has this sort of smokiness and this earthiness about it. I can feel it just by looking on that image.
I can too a little bit, even though I've never been there yet.
Never been there, you have to come.
Yeah, I have a little piece of it here in the gallery.
Yeah, you have to come.
And these are, I love these are glazed all the way on the outside.
Yes, yes. So there are quite a few pieces from the Fragmented Beauty group where I've just left in its natural, organic way. But these I have glazed on the outsides. These have been double glazed. And so a brighter color on the inside is like life and that vibrancy is like a deep red. Burgundy is like the blood, you know, that goes through us. So that represents this. I'm playing with glazes with these for that. And the one beside here is also from Sankofa. Yeah. So they're all in the same family. The whole Sankofa family is here. Yeah. And even though, you know, these are glazed, but it still has that kind of earthy, organic feeling to it. I didn't want it to be, I don't want to say imperfect, but to have that sort of flawlessness. I really like that organic sort of vibe to it.
Yes. It also makes it look ancient and
exactly.
real, you know, what was able to be made back then.
Yeah, yeah.
So beautiful. And these, now are these made from a different sort of clay? These are some of my favorite, especially because of the shape, obviously, with the female gaze.
The female gaze, yeah.
I love anything vaguely vaginal. So this is some of my favorite pieces.
I know, because I think this is the first piece I showed you, and this is the first piece I made like this.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because this is a darker clay bodied. I work with 3 different clay bodies for this collection. And this piece, I remember I was finishing up a bag of clay. And I'm like, I need to close this, I need to end this. And I had just enough pieces left to make the lab. And I'm like, let's just make a labia right here.
Yes!
Let's just give it some female power, you know? And I love so much the way it was in the end, and I loved your reaction to it. And so I've added more, I keep adding more to it.
There's more than one vessel in this show, I'll tell you, yes.
There is more. But I love the delicate form.
And there's like a shininess to it. Like when you see the dirt and you see like a glinting, you know, it's like, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, the way it comes out of the kiln. But darker clays tend to give that beautiful kind of sheen to it as well. Yeah.
And we have more photography here from Jamaica.
More photography. So this also has a similar story to Top Hill. You know, like this one I did in Portland. Oh my God, this was in, what's this place called? Oh my God, that is Portland. That's Portland. That one is in Port Antonio. This is close to Kingston. This area called Hellshire, and Hellshire is one of the beaches that are still open to locals, which is quite unfortunate. Most of the beaches in Jamaica are now private.
Oh my gosh.
And so we go to Hellshire to get our fried fish, and all the families, a family affair. And I saw this little girl on a stone, on a rock, and you see that same cycle where she's pointing and she's like the leader of tomorrow.
Yes!
You see the grandfather, the mother, and the brother, and she's like the leader, you know? And I just love that moment.
I love it, and her stance.
Exactly.
She's the boss. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that is in Hellshire. And you know, another thing we're dealing with in Jamaica is the erosion. I mean, I think the entire earth is going through a major change right now anyway. But this beach has come back so much, it's barely there. So I have lots of memories going there. And this piece, now that was in Port Antonio. And it's actually two images. There's an image where the little boy is running towards this man.
Oh.
And this is about unity. Like, I feel like every image, as I said, has a story to share. And I just loved, when you have them together, they're not here today, but it was just the uniting different people, different races, different cultures, different worlds. And I felt it just had that beautiful story there in Port Antonio. And this is Negril. And Negril always has that sort of laid back vibe, as well as my parish, which is St. Elizabeth, just very relaxed. More touristy on this side, and I captured this from a cliff looking down. I mean, Jamaica is special and everyone should visit at some point. There's nowhere like there.
Here we have Sofia Peters, my cousin. So proud. 20 years old, a student at UCLA Art School, and enormously talented. I've been watching Sofia since she was a teenager, just waiting to get her phone call. So here we have her in the female gaze, bringing a young perspective, which is very much needed. So what is the title of this work?
So this piece is called The Hunt. It's an oil painting, and yeah, it's kind of focuses on a dreamscape sort of scene. Yeah, and it incorporates these puma figures that I've worked with before. So yeah, it's kind of just pushing that idea further and exploring how those animals can interact with a larger setting.
So did you have blue pumas appear in a dream? Because this also has been getting so much attention in the gallery, called Play With Me.
Yeah, so I kind of just started seeing a lot of imagery of big cats, and I was really drawn to it. And yeah, this piece was kind of like a collage of different imagery that I came up with in my head, and also have been seeing on social media, and yeah, just in different references. And then I incorporated a sort of self-portrait into it. And so yeah, it's kind of a collage of a lot of different references together.
I love this piece, definitely one of my favorites, and I love all the self-portraiture.
Thank you. So this piece is a film image. It's taken on a Canon AE1 that was my dad's, that he passed down to me.
Oh!
Yes. Yeah, this is just a really special picture to me. It is of myself and my girlfriend. And yeah.
This is what we call the original selfie, when you take a
exactly.
picture of yourself in the mirror with a camera. But
exactly.
It's
yeah, I was actually really excited about this piece because it is part of a Instagram account that features a lot of couples on film. It's like it's called Lovers on Film, and it's just kind of a collection of images of different couples from all over the world.
Oh.
And yeah, I was really excited about having this piece here.
Oh, so sweet. And this is another favorite, oil pastel on paper. This is just so incredible. All right, what's the title of this piece?
This piece is called I Don't Like My Body, But I Will One Day.
A lot of women have been having a very emotional reaction to that title.
Yes.
A woman recently was like, I didn't like my body either when I was young, but now I love it. I'm in my 40s. And I was like, that's fantastic.
That's the goal, for sure. That is where
Even though, of course, everybody looking back in their 20s is like, I had, anyway.
Yeah.
I love this piece.
Thank you.
And the window element also.
Yeah. This piece, I originally wanted it to be an oil painting, but it was for class originally, and so it was for a drawing class, and they wanted to push me to use true drawing materials, so I started out with a very thin layer of oil paint for the base, and then went over it with oil pastels once it was dry. And yeah, I actually added the window a lot later in the process, but I think it was a good addition.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, and let's move over to my personal favorite. I know I said that one was my favorite, but this one is really my favorite. It's called Taken by the Tide. I mean, this just brings me, you know, Leonora Carrington, all the surrealist women of the 30s and the dreamscapes, and I'm just, people are really moved by this, and I am too, all the layers of everything that's going on, and the ghosts and the colors and the feel, and it's really something.
Thank you. Yeah, this piece I made a couple of years ago, and I was just going through a tough time, and I just was laying in my bedroom, and I just had been going out to the coast, like driving out to the coast in the middle of the night for many days in a row, and I just kind of felt the ocean kind of seeping into my bedroom, and it was kind of combining those two landscapes together. And I just took a picture of myself and then left to go to the coast after that, and then I just really wanted to do something to kind of capture that feeling, and this is what came out.
From great angst comes great beauty. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Here we have a gallery devoted to the fine art of Justina Blakeney. Some of you may know Justina from her home line, The Jungalow, which allows all of us to have a little piece of her color theory in our own homes, brightening our days. And like so many people in the creative design field, she's originally a fine artist. And I have been encouraging her for about 1.5 years to let the world share in her beautiful work. So here we have 5 self-portraits. They each have a metal element to them, whether it's jewelry. This one is called Open Your Hairs, from when she spent time in Switzerland as a young girl, and a lot of attention would be given to her hair. Queen J, I love this. Talk about the female gaze. This is a perfect self-portrait, and the beautiful Hamza coming off the canvas. And what she's able to do with color and portraiture is really beautiful. I love seeing all of the different colors that she uses to make these faces. This has been one of the favorites. It's wonderful to see women's bodies on the canvas that are painted by women. There was a woman who came to the opening night, and she said after viewing Justina Blakeney's painting, she felt better about her body. So as a gallerist, I can ask for nothing more. And over here, we have, in Justina's words, dolce far niente, which is the sweet art of doing nothing. She spent a lot of time in Italy, and I guess that particular Italian tradition struck a chord. I love these paintings and drawings of the female body in all of its beauty and all of its forms. And my favorite piece is this one here. I think, as you can tell, I like a lot of woman plays on the odalisque, you know, when you think about the old masters and all that nonsense. So I love to see these ones of beautiful women bodies that are painted by women. It's very uplifting to see yourself represented on the canvas. Thank you so much for joining us on this tour of the female gaze. Come visit us in the beautiful Pacific Design Center, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5.